What is up, and welcome to the Dota 2 Canada Cup Day 2. We have Group C for you here. First match of the day is going to be GOTM City versus What Happened. GOTM City, formerly known as My Intent, a lot of the players from that team, and What Happened, a team we saw in the last time there was a Canada Cup. I believe they competed in the finals, but came in second place. So excited to see this game, how it's going to go, and this will play a big part in how Group C is going to pan out on another stream. I'm not exactly sure where. There is another game. Typical Mistakes is playing Team Arma, so that is live as well. If you want to check that out, have both streams open, that's fine by me. Or if you have your Dota 2 Canada Cup ticket for only $1, you can watch whichever game turns out to be a little bit more exciting. So be sure to spend that $1. Let's go into the picks. As we already see, GOTM has banned out the Shadow Demon and Keeper of the Light. What Happened take out Treant as well as Batrider. First pick was a Wisp on the side of GOTM, and the response is Gyrocopter and Magnus from What Happened. So a lot of popular heroes making it in. Wisp getting first picked here, a hero we saw in the matches with Molotov yesterday. They were able to use the hero very effectively and was instrumental in their huge victories over the competition. We also see them picking up a Nature's Prophet second, so going to have that global presence, being able to TP in not only with Nature's Prophet but with the relocate from Wisp if Wisp has a strong early game and isn't pushed too far off from getting that 6. You want to get it around that 10-minute window ideally. That way you can make the most out of those TP ganks, really start turning the tide of a game. We're in the second banning phase now, and What Happened are sitting on their third ban. So with the Nature's Prophet being a potential offlaner that could also go in the jungle, and Wisp being a support, maybe What Happened going to look to ban some solos and some carries here. They can also opt for some supports, but that would conflict with what they need since they have Magnus and Gyrocopter. So I'd really expect solos and the occasional carry banned out, but they're going to ban out Rubik first. They're the team that makes sense, though, because look at their team. They have Magnus and Gyrocopter. Cooldown, of course, only 50-second cooldown. A skill you don't want to give up to a Rubik, and reverse polarity, no need to explain that. Another skill, so there is a good support ban, I suppose, even though they desperately want those. And I think they'll have first pick coming out of the banning phase, so they probably could have picked up Rubik if they really liked. But either way, they banned it out, and now GOTM City are going to go ahead and ban out another support. They take out Visage, and this is going to be a little bit painful if they're looking for certain supports here, as we already see 3, 4 if you include Treant banned out. Quap is banned out by What Happened, so they do transition towards those solo bans, taking out one of the more commonly picked solos from the day yesterday. In a lot of games, not having a great deal of success, though. Puck getting the better of the Quap several times. And also the matchups against OD just seemed too difficult, and OD is becoming a really prominent hero. Wouldn't be too surprised if we saw him banned out at some phase here. I mean, GOTM maybe looking to pick up that OD, so I wouldn't entirely expect them to ban it out because he's a hero that matches up very well against Magnus. If you can limit his mana pool, being able to use Shockwave is the bread and butter of a Magnus in lane. He's entirely reliant on that to get his CS, so you'd hinder him greatly. And Nyx Assassin, another support, going to be banned out by GOTM. They've banned out supports all across the board, and that leaves What Happened with the opportunity here to go for either their offlaner or one of the supports that is remaining. We'll have to see what exactly they want. Heroes like Jakiro are still in. Interestingly enough, Darkseer is still in the pool, so a good offlaning option that perhaps either team would consider. Bane is going to be selected up here, so they do opt for the support, and Bane with Nightmare and Fiend's Grip, a very solid choice at that. Works well in conjunction with Gyrocopter as well, able to close the gap and get the full damage from Rocket Barrage on your target. Now we're waiting on GOTM to pick up their third hero. We'll see what they want to add to these ranks. Nature's Prophet and Wisp so far. I wouldn't be too surprised if they went for that OD. I think he's really proven himself as of late, being a strong hero in general, and just the fact that you're able to shut down a lane entirely is reason enough to select him, let alone Astral Imprisonment acts as a good defensive ability as well as offensive potential, and having that Sanity's Eclipse is just huge. So that would be my first inclination. And then there's, of course, an opportunity for GOTM to try and integrate the Darkseer into their team. I mean, a very powerful hero, still available at this phase. Also, Lifestealer available, another carry that both teams could probably use to decent effectiveness. Surprised to see him making it this far in the draft. So one of those heroes, I think Lifestealer probably being the most likely out of those options. CK potential, since there isn't already Wisp in play. That combo is always going to be a strong one, so I wouldn't be surprised if that came out as well. But they're going to go for Beastmaster instead. So Beastmaster, a strong hero. He's going to add to the pushing potential. You already have Nature's Prophet with the Treants, getting that aura, getting that extra attack speed is going to help you out in that department. And he is a good laner, can lane against Magnus very effectively with the Axis, as well as the fact that when he hits level 6 and has that roar, he can go ahead and create a lot of havoc, get some good solo kills. You're not too worried about the BKBs that might come up on Gyrocopter or Magnus. And of course, Bane has Fiend's Grip, so that goes through BKB. So Beastmaster gives them an option as well to break through a BKB. But I am surprised that the Lifestealer has not been selected at all yet, and now we see a Leshrac picked up for the second support. So Bane is going to be very good at setting up Leshrac for split earth stuns, and they're going to have a natural synergy between those two, that if Leshrac and Gyrocopter are able to isolate a target, the damage between Edict as well as Rocket Barrage should be enough to create a formidable tri-lane. Whether it's going to be defensive or offensive, we'll have to wait. They have 3 ranged heroes, and we always say Wisp isn't the strongest tri-lane hero. They could want to take this offensive, depending on what their last pick is. PA is picked up, meanwhile, by GOTM. An interesting choice. I know a lot of teams favor Phantom Assassin, but usually when you can combine it with something like a Magnus, so you have the overpower, they're going for a raw PA. You do have the Wisp with it, so he will get more attack speed from the overpower once that does come into effect. But still interesting to see that they went picking the Lifestealer. Now the 5th ban comes out here in a moment from What Happened. We'll see what they want to take out of the pool. It looks like one more support hero is what GOTM is really going to be looking for. So if they want to ban out something like Jakiro, perhaps wouldn't be a bad decision. Something with a reliable stun is probably what GOTM is looking for, since they only have the Roar from the Beastmaster as well as the Tether stun thus far. So Jakiro with the Ice Path would be a good option. Vengeful with the minus armor, you could see having that extra aura in play as well. So Beastmaster has, of course, the attack speed aura. Vengeful would offer damage aura, and you can see them working well together. And quick bans come out. Jakiro will be banned, so that will not be an option for GOTM. Nyx is banned by GOTM, so What Happened can't pick him up either. And they'll pick up the lone Druid, who slipped through the draft somehow, and use him to round up their team. And now we're just waiting on the final pick for GOTM. Do they want to go with the Vengeful and get the strong auras in play? It's definitely a potential option for them here. I think I'd like to see that. Then they'd also have the ability to swap out a target that's being Fiend's Grip by Bane. Heavy stun is good to have. It's reliable early on in the game. I'm trying to think of some other options they can go for. Something like Alina could be in play, but there's no setup stun except for the potentially Root coming in and going off of that. They're going to pick up Lion. So Lion, a hero that had a phase where he seemed to be the most popular of the support options, but that slowly phased out as he becomes less and less picked as of late. But Lion definitely has legitimate options. 2 hard disables, and then being able to use that finger once he turns level 6 is going to be able to burst a lot of these heroes down. Leshrac, Bane, and Gyrocopter aren't going to have that great of health pools early on in the game, and they certainly have to worry about that finger of death coming out and threatening them. So, teams are set up. We're waiting for players to select up their heroes, and then we'll be good to go live with the first game of the Dota 2 Canada Cup today. Dota 2 Canada Cup is brought to you by Dota2.ca. Be sure to check out their community and forum for all the latest Dota news. We have an instant pause coming out. It looks like they're just waiting for the heroes to load so it wouldn't destroy his computer. So no big deal. We're about to get into the game. We'll start with the side of GOTM and go over who's playing what. We have Loper playing Lion. Orbit will be on Beastmaster. The Chef Dota will be on the Wisp. Corey on Phantom Assassin. I'm going to call him Corey. That's the last time I say Corey. I don't know why I did that. Chicken MC will be playing Nature's Prophet. And that rounds up the Dire team, Gotham City. Meanwhile, for the Radiant, we have FI6 on Leshrac. Frosting Cake on Lone Druid. Insult playing Magnus. John the Ninja on Gyrocopter. And Richard playing Bane. So it's going to be interesting to see how they decide to lane this up. They're going to smoke early and head towards the top lane. So very bold move by What Happened. This is 100 gold spent already. If this doesn't actually culminate in anything, it is a waste considering supports aren't going to have that much income early on in the game unless things go really well for you. But it's actually only the 3-man roam. Expected to maybe see all 5 go with it. They're going to head towards the top lane, and it's going to be an aggressive tri-lane on tri-lane action. So trying to take advantage of the fact that Wisp is not the best laner, but they do have extra disables to fall back on that has got them in the hands of Lion. So not exactly sure how this is going to pan out early. They're going to try and put this pressure on the PA and bring the fight to him. This wrap from the smoke, it reveals they know they're here. They're going to run into Loper. They're going to sleep him off first. F16 is going to hit the split earth, and the rocket barrage is there. Loper's going to go down first blood 35 seconds before the creep wave even spawns. What happened? Making plays early. That was a very risky move, of course. They could have very well walked into all 5 from GOTM, but fortunately for them, there were only 2 or 3 on hand there, and not nearly enough to respond properly, as the damage early on from Rocket Barrage is very strong, and they're able to set it up brilliantly. So they sneak into the Dire jungle, get an early first blood, and we'll see what they can do off of that now, as all of these heroes are going to have a slight XP advantage over their opposition as they try and work towards level 2. Not the best start if you're rooting for GOTM. Meanwhile, this middle lane matchup is going to be Insult on the Magnus versus Beastmaster being played by Orbit. So I think this is a fairly even matchup. Both of them should be able to trade. Perhaps Beastmaster has a little bit better of an animation, but both of them should get their farm. It's going to be whoever can get out of the lane earlier and make the most happen in the other lanes will be the most successful of the two. With a roar, I suppose, or even with the reverse polarity, there's potential for the solo kills, but I'm not seeing it pan out that like there's a lot of individual kills going in the middle lane, at least not yet. Bottom lane will be Chicken MC on Nature's Prophet versus Frosting Cake on Lone Druid. This is a lopsided matchup in favor of Frosting Cake. So interesting to see that Chicken decided to come down here and start in the bottom lane, but he certainly seems to be doing an okay job thus far. Once Frosting Cake gets a level or 2, he should be able to apply a lot of pressure to Chicken MC and maybe push him out of the lane, or at least make him more reluctant to step up to the creep wave as far as he is. In the top lane, we see a little bit of harass damage coming out as John the Ninja is using the flat cannon that he picked up early on to apply some pressure on the supports here. This is also going to push the wave, though, so Corey's going to get his CS, and it shouldn't be too difficult for him to do so. So heading back to this middle lane, we can check out the CS battle. It's 4 for 3 on Beastmaster versus 2 for 1. Now picking up 6, so a little bit of an advantage for Orbit early on in this game, and that will be because the attack animation for Beastmaster is very, very strong, so he's making the most out of that right now. It looks like they're about even on base damage, so that's not too big of a factor. Some harass damage coming on Wisp here on the side, but it doesn't look like they're going to be able to pursue or look for a kill opportunity there. So we got a first blood before the game even started. 2 minutes in, it looks like the game has slowed down a little bit. It's not going to be that really quick pace. Instead, we do see a sentry coming down here, but they're opting not to counter. There we go. He didn't see it because it was behind the tree. So they're going to take away some vision from GOTM, which will be nice. Now Richard roaming will actually lose the rune to Orbit, who's able to pick up the haste rune. and boots will be delivered to him as well. So Orbit having a really strong time in this middle lane. Still only 4 CS on Magnus, which a little bit surprising. I mean, attack animation gets you pretty far, but the shockwaves should be landing on most of the creep kills anyway. In any other matchup, that's what you'd assume Magnus would be entirely reliant on. So we'll see if he can get his act together before the variance in CS grows too large. On the bottom lane, level 3 on Chicken MC, level 4 on Frosting Cake. So down here, it still seems to be slightly in favor of Frosting Cake, but not that big of a margin. It's a little bit surprising that he hasn't really pushed out Nature's Prophet from this lane yet. The lane is pushing towards the tower, so I guess MP has an opportunity to fall back on that right now, and that's exactly what he will do. Keeping an eye on the top lane where we think things might break out soon. We see the pull has been sentryed, so there are creeps spawning there now, but Richard's walking over to interrupt it. They still get through a single pull, which is going to end up pushing the lane, and it looks like Richard's not content with really giving this up quite yet either, so he's going to jump in and contest whatever he can. This lane is going much in favor of what happened, but they're going to actually try and turn that around right now as GOTM jump on them. A two-man stun and a sheep on John the Ninja, but John the Ninja pops out the rocket barrage, but it looks like Corey with the blink strike is going to get back to his teammates. There's a TP in from Chicken MC. He jumps on top of Richard, but once again from the side though, Orbit's coming in. He's going to be able to pick off one kill. Chicken MC does go down. John the Ninja going to get hit by an orb here, and he will be finished off, so it ends up being a 3-for-1 trade. They lose Chicken MC, but they take down Bane, Leshrac, and Gyrocopter. Great rotation by Orbit makes that possible. If he had not come in, it looked as if potentially Chicken MC would have went down, and it would have just been a clean kill for what happened there, but the haste made that all possible, and Orbit's going to continue with that rune control as he picks up a double damage right now in the north part of the river. So it's a little bit of a shame that Chicken had to go down, but he does get an assist. This does provide extra time for Frosting Cake on Lone Druid to get some extra farm. He's going to come in here with some harass from the bear, and this is definitely the part of the game, level 5 Lone Druid, where it's going to be so difficult for Chicken to stay in this lane. He has to be very cautious. If he gets hit by one entangle, he's going to take a whole lot of damage, probably half of his health. And that rotation from Orbit didn't even take that much time, to be honest, because he had the haste active, so he got to top, really cashed in. Now it looks like he's going to come top once again. He's level 6. He's getting the bottle charges. He's looking for the roar. He's going to find John the Ninja. He gets the bonus move speed from the tether. He's going to go on top of John the Ninja. John the Ninja gets tethered, and there's a nice stun coming out, but they're going to turn around. Loper gets the stun off from Lion, and here comes the TP in from Chicken MC. One is dead on the side of What Happened. They get the second kill as well, and now F16 is forced to retreat as he loses 2 of his teammates in that sequence. All 5 on hand from GOTM. They're going to put some pressure on this tower. They're pushing really deep under the tower. Dagger does come out to slow down F16, but they're going to turn around and focus their attention to the tower itself as Orbit purchases up his arcane. Still has a double damage active, and the tower is going to get glyphed. All the meanwhile, Magnus still getting some farm middle. Lone Drew getting plenty of farm bottom. He's now going to be able to apply some pressure to this tower himself with the Demolish. Ooh, he doesn't have Demolish yet because he's not level 7. My mistake. But he can still, of course, deal a decent amount of damage here. We do see Chicken MC going to catch him in a Sprout. He's putting some damage onto the bear, trying to force a resummon out of him. But it's not that big of a deal as Lone Druid is able to casually walk away. I'm a little bit surprised that whole encounter top lane, there was no TP from Intel. He did have one in his inventory, could have made his way up. He's level 6, he has the reverse polarity available, but decided to stay in the lane, try and catch up a little bit. With Orbit now leaving lane twice, Incel is still behind on CS. It's 21-29 in favor of the Beastmaster. So that's very surprising and a little bit disappointing if you're Incel, probably. And we do see a couple of wards coming out. This ward's going to be instantly spotted off by What Happened as it was under the vision of their own ward, and it's going to be sentryed in a moment here from F16, I assume. It looks like he's actually going to save it, but there's a Wrath of Nature coming in. And so if they did know the ward was there, now they do, but it doesn't matter. Corey jumps on top of Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter will get nightmared by his teammate Bane, but that will not be enough to save him. Chicken MC joins the fight once again. Richard getting pretty low. He does turn around for the brain sap, but he will not survive nonetheless. He's going to go down. F16 is going to get hit here by the blink strike, and there's a dagger and enough damage from Lion to get the kill. Another triple kill set for the team of Gotham City as they take down 3 of the team members of What Happened on the top lane. It's now 8-2 in terms of kills. We do see Beastmaster opted to go for the inner beast build. This is what a lot of Beastmasters are doing lately. Intel could probably get a solo kill here if he pressed for it, but it looks like he's playing very cautiously. They don't have too much vision in terms of where everyone is. Chicken MC, of course, can rotate in with the TP, so he doesn't want to go for it alone. The saving grace right now for what happened is going to be the Spirit Bearer, who's sitting 40-12, leading the CS boards. His net worth is still second to Beastmaster, since Beastmaster has done so well. Middle lane, Intel almost goes down to Orbit, but in comes the Bane to save him with the Nightmare. So good play from Bane to be there. Bane only level 3 though, so falling behind in terms of experience, which is going to be a big concern. Corey's going to get hit here by Rocket Barrage. They turn around, get a big stun on John the Ninja. John the Ninja may be in trouble. Tether Stun's going to come in as well. He's turned into a frog, and a couple more auto attacks will do the job. There's the Rocket Barrage, but it will not be enough to finish anybody off, and there was a Wrath of Nature coming for cleanup duty anyway, but it didn't actually connect since he was already dead. Here's the Split Earth stun, and there's our first reverse polarity of the game. Chicken MC pulled in. He's going to be the first to die here by this top rune spot. Orbit's going to take a lightning split. He's going to have to run. He's actually going to try and finish off F16. Not giving up. Gets hit by the Split Earth yet again, though. And Richard with auto attacks should be able to finish him off. Not enough mana on Insel for a Shockwave. So we'll see as they continue to pursue if there's any outs for Orbit, but it doesn't look like there will be. As, Loper comes in for the side, and with the stun will save him for the moment. Yes, Orbit's going to make it out. That is... wow. That is something. Gyrocopter on top lane, meanwhile, gets a solo kill on Wisp. It took the call down, but definitely worthwhile use. And Frost and Cake gets a tier 1 tower. And I'm very surprised that Orbit survived there. He was in so deep without much help. And then Lopert eventually comes in, gets the stun, but just no regen. Not enough mana for a Shockwave, not enough mana for a Brain Sap or a Nightmare. And casually walks out. So with all this movement, that created a great opportunity for Frost and Cake to actually take down that tower, and that's exactly what you wanted to do at this stage of the game. Just continue the pressure. He can't really get involved in team fights quite yet. Suppose with the possibility of getting a root, he could do decent, but now Chicken MC is actually going to engage on him. Orbit comes in with a roar. There's going to be axes to follow up in a second, and will they be able to get the killing blow here? Yes, they will. The Wrath of Nature was there if they needed it, but it didn't connect as Nature's Prophet with the auto attack was able to secure the kill. Now bringing it 11-4 in terms of kills. Gyrocopter in the top lane gets a kill on Phantom Assassin, though, and Loper will die as well, so a double kill for Gyrocopter as we were watching the bottom lane. And this is a good sign. John the Ninja picking up a couple kills. He's now sitting on 1,600 gold in his bank account, and definitely going to be working towards maybe drums first. He picked up the Power Tread, so doesn't have the greatest mobility, whereas he'd be a little bit quicker if he had gone for phase. So usually when you see treads, you assume to see drums come up next, but the way the game is going, he might want to go for something a little bit more adventurous, like a Shadow Blade, so he can be extra aggressive early on. Meanwhile, 1,900 gold in the hands of Lone Druid. Doesn't look like he's purchased anything, so we see him on the net worth chart just below his teammate Gyrocopter and his opponent Orbit on the Beastmaster, but now he's going to surpass that. They're neck and neck, actually. Only single digits differentiating them. So even though it was a rough start and they're down in the kill total, there's still 3 of the top 4 farmers in the game. So definitely a good indication for what happens, that this game is not even close to over. Bane is only level 4 though, Leshrac level 5. They wish they had that Fiend's Grip available. It would really help them out in a lot of these fights. It looks like level 6 is now up on Wisp, so Relocate is in effect. Lion is almost level 6 as well. That finger is going to turn this lane around. Corey gets hit by a Nightmare here. There's going to be a cooldown to follow. Blink Strike's going to try and get Corey out of it. It will work. The stun turns around, gets 2 of them. The Relocate is going to occur as well. Chicken MC going to come in. I didn't think he expected that Relocate, and he's actually going to drop after TPing in. Lopert's really low as well. Orbit hastes in from the side. The Relocate should pull him back in a moment. John the Ninja gets roared, and here they are. Back into the fight is Corey as well as Wisp. And now F16 is hit by that stun from the Lion. He's going to go down. Insel, already using the reverse polarity, is going to take a good amount of damage here, but they're going to turn their attention to Richard, who of course has a lower health pool. He's going to get hit by the dagger, but both of them are going to survive. A coup de grace does trigger on top of Magnus, but it's not enough damage to kill him. And ends up being a 2-for-1 trade in the long run, I believe. But certainly an awkward engagement. I don't think Corey was really that low that warranted that Relocate. So a little bit surprised to see that happen. If they had stayed, it would have definitely made Chicken MC's entrance more effective, whereas they both disappeared from the fight. So what happened? Just decided to turn around and focus on the Furion. A pretty easy decision on their behalf. Now we do see Rune going to be eaten up by the bear here. 2,500 gold on Frosting Cake. Curious to see what he builds towards. Since he's saving all of the gold, not buying components, I'd assume it's going to be a Radiance first. He's going to come in towards the lane here. This is a little bit of a bait with Lopert sitting behind him. Lopert is level 6 now, so does have a finger available. And even though Lone Druid is tanky, he has to be a little bit cautious. He does have 1,500 health, though, so it's not going to be an easy kill. They'd have to probably relocate some help in, and it is available. Tower off the back end of it if they like. But getting ahead of ourselves, Phantom Assassin close to being able to finish off that drums, but has to be very careful, as we do see now level 5, almost level 6 on Bane, and it's only 2 versus 3 as it stands right now in the top lane. Middle, we see Insel going back to farming. He has 940 gold in the bank. Here's the relocate on the bottom lane, and they're going to jump on top of Frosting Cake. Loper coming in from the side. He's going to use the finger. Chicken MC with auto attacks. Who's going to get the kill? It looks like the coup de grace will trigger, but Frosting Cake just barely staying alive. Wisp will get it with a spirit, but actually Wisp will drop as well, so Lone Druid gets a kill out of that. Of course, you don't want to trade Lone Druid for Wisp, but still, it's better than nothing. With a 4-man gank, you expected that to go off a little bit better, perhaps even seamless, and it did not occur that way for GOTM. If they can get this tower kill, though, it would be nice. Meanwhile, tower on the top lane was destroyed by Gyrocopter. He's now sitting on 1,200 gold, did purchase up those drums, and we'll see if he wants to build towards the Shadow Blade next. Orbit's going to rotate up towards his top lane. He does have an invisibility rune in his bottle, as well as 100 gold until he finishes off the entirety of his mech, which will be a really nice pickup for his team, especially considering how aggressive they've been early. On the bottom lane, though, Bane does kill off Phantom Assassin. We missed that one. It looks like they do so without even using the Fiend's Grip, so they used Reverse Polarity for it, though. So Reverse Polarity guarantees the kill. A nice pick off. Phantom Assassin does have drums completed, but not all too much going on aside from that. We do see Mech is now completed, as well as Tranquil Boots for the Lion, and Arcane's coming out for Bane. A whole slew of items across the board for everyone in the game. Wrath of Nature is going to hit and just barely hurt John the Ninja. John the Ninja is going to get sprouted here by Chicken MC. An invisible orbit coming from the side. He has level 2 roar, and this should be enough to guarantee the kill. There's no response from what happened at all. The nearest hero being the Magnus, but he's still way far back, so an easy kill there. Perhaps Gyrocopter overextending a little bit on the top lane, and Corey's just going to push out. It looked like Chicken MC was tempted to join him. Once again, no one contesting this, so Gyrocopter dies in middle, nothing happens. Top lane's being pushed out by a solo Phantom Assassin, and nothing is happening here either. This could be a really easy tower kill for GOTM if no one responds. We do see 3,200 gold in the Lone Druid now, so getting closer to that relic. And yeah, it's going to be a free tower kill for Corey. This is a little bit of a mistake, I'd say. The fact that they just lose Gyrocopter for nothing and then give up a free tower, that's a really good sequence for GOTM, who are now 15-9 in hero kills at the 16-minute mark. So getting about 1 kill a minute. Let's take a look at our graphs. So gold earned, there's 2,000 in favor of the Radiant. That's highly concentrated on this Lone Druid who's been farming well. And experience is about 1,000 in favor of the Radiant. But it feels like GOTM are in a good position now to really assert themselves, and they do have a kill advantage. So if they can force some of these fights, a double smoke is going to come in here. The illusions might be tempting for Richard. It looks like everyone's smoke has been popped. They turn around and use the roar on Bane. Bane's going to get hit by the Axis as well, and the finger comes in from Loper. That's going to secure the kill. They'll jump in. The relocate right on top of Leshrac is going to get them another kill. John the Ninja now trying to retreat. He's going to use the call down. It's going to make a little bit risky for Corey to pursue here, but he still gets the kill nonetheless, taking some tower hits, but Orba will pop off the mech, and everyone will be just fine. 3 more kills coming out for GOTM as they apply pressure to the top lane, looking to try and push in this tier 2. Just a really good sequence for them there. Being able to roar off the Bane prevents any possibility of the Fiend Script coming into play. But now there is a blink. Oh, and it only hits one hero, and it's the tankiest of heroes. Orbit, they're going to turn this around. Bane goes down. Magnus goes down. Split Earth from Leshrac does come out, but he's going to die as well. And an awful reverse polarity baits what happened into a bad team fight situation. Loper just casually going to stun the initiator since he wasn't caught in it, and got him getting the better of that exchange easily. That's a big blunder from Insel, who otherwise had a pretty solid game thus far. Been able to keep up his farm, has the Blink Dagger already, despite being outlaned by Orbit early on. And they're going to transition GOTM will to the middle lane, take down a tier 1 tower there. Now they have 4 towers down already. I'm sure those graphs are going to show distinct swings. And look at that plummet down towards 3,000 gold in advantage of GOTM as they look to rotate towards the Roche pit. Both of the graphs taking huge nosedives. We do see Corey sitting on 1,600 gold now. Expect him to work on the BKB next in all likelihood. A couple abilities that go through BKB. Maybe he'll think about going something else instead. Maybe pick up a Helm of the Dominator early. Shadowblade is completed on Nature's Prophet. See if we have any items on these supports. Nothing really going on for them. So Corey will get that Aegis. And now even more gold coming to the hands of GOTM, and there's a Blink Dagger coming out for Lion, so he is sitting pretty right now as well. And what happened? Looking for some response. It has to be the reverse polarity, but it has to be better than that last one as well. Even if it was a seamless reverse polarity, it would have been a staggered initiation. Now we see the double TP. Here comes Nature's Prophet. Here comes Wisp. And Phantom Assassin, John the Ninja, gets hit by the coup de grace, and he will go down. Does use the call down, but it's not enough to save him. And Wisp with the tether will take Corey out of here once again. Middle lane, Loper applying some pressure to the lone Druid. He actually blinks ahead of him and gets hit by the Entangle. He's taking a whole lot of damage. Orbit comes in from the side. He's going to get the roar on Frosting Cakes. And now Corey, as well as the Chef Dota, come in, and this should be enough for the kill. Frosting Cakes is going to go down yet again. Everything is falling apart for what happened. They looked pretty good at one point in the game, but GOTM are really asserting themselves effectively right now. Not able to even finish off the Lion before help got there. And we'll see if they want to try and build off of this. Orbit is now working towards his Aghanims. He has 70 gold, but he already has 3 of the components, looking for 1,000 more gold, and he'll be able to complete that off. And that lowered cooldown is going to be devastating for what happened. They're already really suffering to the Roars. Roars are turning fights around like they kind of wish the reverse polarity would for them. It's just not happening. John the Ninja, sensing the need for extra damage, is going to work towards an MKB right now. So it's a risky pick, because if he gets hit by the Roar, he's almost guaranteed going to die, especially with the Finger on the back end of it. And Loper doing a great job. He's keeping up in levels. He's level 9, so Finger, 600 damage. He's not that far from level 11, and that's when it starts to hit even harder, of course. But half of his health is going to be gone from one ability, and in the extra burst that can come out from a coup de grace or Wrath of Nature. This is a very risky pick from Gyrocopter, but he feels like his team is so far behind on damage output that it's a necessary decision for him. Looking towards the top line, it looks like Chicken MC is just pushing out casually. He's working towards an Orchid of his own. He'll transition to the bottom lane and continue the pressure. Loper in the middle lane, as well as Chef Dota and Orbit. They're thinking about jumping in here. You could see it. Haste Rune in the bottle for Orbit. However, 4 heroes are on hand. Now they're starting to scatter up a little bit. There is a relic for Spirit Bear, but we were talking about him having enough gold for the relic around the 17-minute mark, and these deaths have just set him back really far. 1, 3, and 2. He doesn't even have the Radiance yet, so this is turning into a really late Radiance. 21 minutes, considering he was a solo lane against the Nature's Prophet. That should have went a lot better from him than it did. It's a little bit of a shame, really. There's going to be a smoke here. They're going to bring 4 heroes in the smoke. Bottom is Chicken MC farming with that Furion. We'll see where they're going to go with this as they decide to rotate into the Radiant Jungle. Going to wrap towards the Tier 2 tower on bottom lane, it looks like. They do hear, now they know that the Gyrocopter has made it into lane. You can hear the flat cannon in the background. Here comes Orbit. He's going to get the roar off, and this is what I was talking about. He's way too susceptible. Down goes the Gyrocopter in just a couple of hits. Loper behind the tower is going to set up a stun. He actually blinks out before using the stun, only uses the sheep. There's a Sprout on F16. F16 does get a split off beforehand. Now Corey's going to jump on top of him. A coup de grace will be enough to take him down with help. A Beastmaster Insult comes in, gets a reverse polarity, only catches 1 or 2. Richard's going to full retreat, and they're going to work on this tower as 3 heroes are dead on the side of what happened. The reverse polarity has been used to little to no effect, and GOTM are just rolling right now as they look to take their first victory in the Dota 2 Canada Cup. brought to you by Dota2.ca. If we look at the graphs, they're going to show a 7,500 gold, 10,000 experience in favor of the Dire, and it's just looking really grim for what happened. They don't have many means to initiate with that reverse polarity on cooldown. It's a risky world to step out into. The Age is still up for 2 minutes, but it looks like GOTM are going to cease and desist a little bit here. They don't want to press their luck too hard, as we do see some items coming out. Aghanim's finished off, as well as the Orchid finished for Furion. So big item pickups. This Roar, of course, now has the really tremendous range and the small cooldown. So going to be able to use it once, maybe twice in a long, extended fight. It's going to help out their efforts to siege these towers. There's a smoke popped off once again. There's been very effective smoke usage from GOTM so far this game. John the Ninja is set up behind the tier 2 tower. The high ground has been taken by GOTM, so they do have some vision of this. They look like they want to push towards middle, but they're kind of wasting time. Only 1 minute left until the Aegis will be reclaimed. Corey does build a completed BKB, so it's in the bank, and that's probably what they're waiting for. It's going to go on to the courier and be delivered out in a moment here. I suppose he can get rid of this Iron Branch. They're actually going to full back, so they decide not to press any further. They're not going to worry about using the Aegis before it expires, unless they decide to relocate Gankin. But you could see this is a very clumped up group from what happens. They don't want to take any further risks. They really need a team fight to go their way to have any chance. They need a reverse polarity that's followed up with a good call down and a good split earth, as well as Bane being able to stand back and get the full duration of a Fiend's Grip off to win any team fight. A lot of things have to go their way, and they just haven't gone that way thus far. You see the Radiant's still not completed on Lone Druid. It looks like he's nearing the gold now, just about to finish it off, as he has 1250, 1350. Now finally, the 24.5 minute Radiance is completed, and we mentioned it before, Frost and Kick in a solo lane down bottom against a Furion that was active all across the map. He wasn't in the lane too often, so the fact that he could not complete that Radiance in a quicker fashion is really hurting his team significantly. We can head over to our net worth. It shows us that Chicken MC on the Furion is leading the way. 10,000 gold net worth for him. In second is Orbit with 9,500, and then Corey with 8,400. And so Corey with a BKB in tow is going to be able to build some extra damage soon. And we do see continuous farm. No big deal. Nothing happening across the map right now. As it seemed to calm down a little bit. They could just be waiting for the next roast. 3.5 minutes until that's going to happen. If GOTM don't want to take any big risks, but seem to be in a very powerful position. 26-9 is the kill lead in favor of them right now. And what happens? On the brink of dropping this game. We'll see if they decide to be a little bit more aggressive. If they try and find a smoke, they do have a smoke in the inventory of Bane. If they want to try and activate that and come out here, find someone alone. But the responsiveness from these heroes, just the really great map presence from Wisp with Relocate, as well as Furion with his teleport, is going to make it difficult to catch any individual hero out. They're going to have to find a small group and make the most of it with a reverse polarity. But thus far, we've seen reverse polarity expended on one, maybe two heroes a couple of times. It just hasn't caused the devastation that you needed to. You can see our Roche timer is going to indicate that there's 2 minutes until Roche respawns. Loper continuing his warding duties down here. He's going to be able to, just out of range, cannot see this ward on the high ground. That's a shame, because it is very close. If only he placed it this over here. And the Bear with Radiance is going to try and push out the bottom lane, and should do a decent job of doing so. We also see Crystal has picked up on Nature's Prophet now, so he's going to deal even more damage. There's a Morbid Mask on Phantom Assassin who's working towards a Vlad's, which will give them a little bit of extra armor. It's going to help out their pushing effort as well. And, of course, the lifesteal will be nice for those coup de grace triggers. Here we go. Looks like Chicken MC is just going to jump on the Bear and kill off the Bear. He's critting for 364, so a lot of damage coming out from this Nature's Prophet right now. Bear is dead, he gets resummoned, but now that resummon will, of course, be on cooldown for 120 seconds, 2 minutes. If they can kill the bear a second time, they'll be in a really strong position. Playing it slow, they're just waiting for this Roche. This is definitely an indication they're waiting for the Roche. Don't want to take any risks. Orbit is going to save 1,200 gold in his bank. He really hasn't gotten that much more money. He was relying on those team fights to cash in, but no team fight has happened in a couple of minutes now. Almost 5 minutes have elapsed since we've seen any kills. As can be indicated by the graphs, we're flatlining a little bit. Both teams farming whatever they can. Experience advantage still going the way and increasing for GOTM. Here we go. It looks like they're going to go for the Roche now. And honestly, I think if there's any chance of what happened to get back into this game, they need to contest this Roshan. Do they have the timer? Do they know it's up? There's smoke, but they're going the wrong direction. They're going towards Chicken MC, and it looks like this is going to be the wrong decision. They could very well get the kill here. He's going to Shadow Blade, but he does get dusted. It looks Chicken MC is going to suffer a death, but at what cost? The Roche has been taken down, and now Corey will have Roche Aegis on him for another 6 minutes. Furion will respawn in 53 seconds. He has a buyback if he'd really like to, but I think they'll try and wait on that. So trading one hero for Roshan is a pretty good trade in general, and they'll be pretty satisfied with that result. Let's just make sure. Oh, why is this up so high? Sometimes the settings reset, which is awkward in my Steam. And that may have been the reason some of you were having some issues. So, bottom lane, we see 4 grouped up. They're just push this lane out and wait until Chicken MC respawns so he can join the fight. Gem now picked up on Bane. It's going to help against one hero, the only hero with Invis. Also, Smoke on Wisp will come out in a moment. We also see Sanj picked up by him. And once again, it looks like they're going to be a little bit reluctant to push. No, here they come back to the lane. Got them know that they have to press now. This is a great opportunity to try and break into the base, as we do see all skills are available for most of the heroes. Last Track opting not to pick up Pulse Nova. Interesting. But either way, this should be the team fight to decide which way this game is going to go. Intel's going to look for initiation. Corey gets stunned off here. He still has the Aegis, though, not afraid of dying. He's going to drop. The Aegis is going to respawn him in a moment. There has not been a reverse polarity yet, so it looks like what happened are looking pretty decent. They're able to get the Fiend Script buff here. Reverse polarity as well. They've caught 3 in it this time, and finally a good reverse polarity is going to mean a decent team fight for them, but Intel gets turned around on his Corey is still surviving somehow. Chicken MC now getting seized by the bear. He does get entangled, and he will get finished off by the Radiance damage alone, and Orbit was trying to pursue into the base, but it's 2 dead on the side of what happened. There's a buyback from Chicken MC, so it's going to be a 4 versus 3 right now as they continue to try and press on into the base. Can what happened prevent this push from happening? It doesn't look like they have enough. The bear will come in and he'll deal whatever damage he can. Orbit is dropping relatively low. He's continuing to bottle up. The bear has been resummoned, so if they're able to kill it off, he won't be back alive for quite some time. Corey has already used his BKB and used the Aegis, so he needs to be a little bit careful with his position. If he gets hit by an entangle, he very well could suffer a death, but now the bear is dead for good, and the tier 3 tower has gone down. So big plays from GOTM on the bottom lane. And what looked like a really good initiation for what happened, there just wasn't enough follow-up. There's a lack of damage on the side of what happens. You can see Gyrocopter decided to, instead of finishing up that MKB, finish off his BKB instead, which is probably the right decision. But still, 31 minutes into the game, we're talking a BKB and a couple of pieces to an MKB. It's just not enough farm. He's not outputting enough damage. You can't rely entirely on a Magnus Shockwave or the slow output from a Radiance Bear to win you the team fight. You can see the burst damage from GOTM is so significant between the Finger of Death, the coup de grace hitting for around 800 now, as well as the fact that when he's in a team fight, they have these auras. They have the Inner Beast giving him extra 40 attack speed. So coup de grace is naturally going to trigger more often. It's just natural synergy between the two heroes that you find pretty useful in these situations. Blink Dagger's now up for Beastmaster after having a pretty good fight there on the bottom lane. And 3 heroes grouped around this tier 2, and it's also just, it looks like GOTM are going to be able to continue to farm at a better rate just because of the sheer amount of map control they have. Now with that tier 3 tower down on the bottom lane, any team fight that What Happened decide to take away from their base, even if it goes well, there's always the chance that Furion is going to TP down bottom, push out that wave, and put pressure on those Raxes. So really just an advantageous position for GOTM City right now. 12,000 gold lead, 12,000 experience lead. It's not over. I mean, they can all in on this gyrocopter, but they need to find farm for him somewhere. But he's stepping pretty far forward in this top lane. There's only one hero right behind him, Relocate, and the TP from Furion are both very live possibilities. Instead, it looks like GOTM are going to focus their attention on the bottom lane. They're going to try and press in and actually get this Rax. Nature's Prophet sitting on 2,100 gold. We have Phantom Assassin picking up the Skull Basher after the Vlad's was completed. So a nice item pickup, and of course once he has 3,800 gold, getting that relic and turning it into an Abyssal is going to be awesome. Courier did die with a Ring of Regen on it. I'm not sure. Looks like Loper traded in his Tranquil Boots for Arcane Boots instead, which makes sense considering Lion's Mana Pool. Definitely can use some help considering Finger of Death, 420 mana, and then of course Sheep, 200 mana, so goes through mana rather quickly. Definitely a worthwhile trade-in. We do see wards stacked on top of each other for either team by the Radiant Ancients, and now they're going to push through middle. There's still an outer base tower standing up middle, so this wouldn't be a bad idea to try and take this fight. We'll see Lopert's leading the way. The bear is up here dealing some Radiance damage to the creep wave, pulling it away a little bit as well. Loper continuing to put up vision as we have a sentry as well as a observer ward on the high ground here. Bears being sent to bottom lane to make sure that doesn't get pushed in too hard. So, I mean, all things considered, they lose the tier 3 tower, but they do hold. That is what happened. Trying to find some bright spots for them. They're behind significantly in gold. You can check out their item progression. It's been lacking. Leshrac does have an Ogre Club. We also see Magnus working towards a BKB, but still a little ways off, about 1,000 gold or so. Gyrocopter now does complete up the MKB, but he went all in on it. So this is the all-in Gyrocopter. Not enough money for a buyback. If the team fight goes poorly, that could spell doom for them. And the bear does have his Radiance, of course, which we knew, but only a plate mail on top of that. So working towards an AC, but not particularly close to finishing it off. And they're all sitting back in their base, and this is what I'm talking about with the map control. Just the possibility of Wisp and Furion TPing on any of them individually is enough to force What Happened to stay inside of their base, and that's why this graph is slowly increasing in favor of the Dire, because there's so much more control over the map, so many more areas for them to farm that just aren't available for What Happens. I want to thank everyone that's tuning in. I'm NYJohn. This is the first game of Group C of the Dota 2 Canada Cup. If you're watching on my stream, thank you. Be sure to consider purchasing a ticket for $1 in the Dota 2 shop. $1 gets you in on all this action, item drops, and all that good stuff as well. And it supports the organizers of this tournament and will hopefully allow them to run more fun events like this in the future. Right now, 28-13 is the kill lead. Got him over What Happened as they continue to try and methodically work through this and get their first victory of the day. That'll put them in a pretty good spot in Group C. Simultaneously to this cast, there is another game going on if it hasn't completed yet. Typical Mistakes taking on Team Arma. So we are running 2 games at a time throughout the group stages and possibly throughout the playoffs. I'm not sure. I'll have to double check on that. So if you do have the tournament ticket, you can be sure to switch between them after the conclusion of one of them. This game in the 37th minute now. As we see What Happened are able to hold. The tri-lane from GOTM went amazing. They were able to pick up so many kills. They did use a lot of resources for many of them, bringing 4 and even 5 heroes up there to get the kills. But nonetheless, securing those kills really pushed What Happened behind. but they're able to stabilize in the mid game, and they're still in it at 37 minutes, which is probably a little bit better than what a lot of people would have suspected, having seen exactly how that early game went. Nature's Prophet now is going to pick up a Daedalus. He has 1,800 gold in his bank as well, so it should be enough for a buyback if he does drop in the next team fight and get right back into the fray. John the Ninja will pick up a Morbid Mask, so this could be towards his Helm of the Dominator. That's what I would really expect. He's somehow sneaking in some farm here and there. He's now surpassed Orbit in terms of his net worth, but he still is behind Phantom Assassin as well as the Furion. Phantom Assassin, we check out the item progression on him, sitting on 3,300 gold. Very well could be waiting for another Roche. GOTM are playing this really safe. Looks like Phantom Assassin is going to be able to get the Aegis. We'll see if what happened to be able to contest or not, but if he gets the Aegis, expect to see that Abyssal come out right thereafter, as he wouldn't be too keen on saving that buyback gold, I don't think, considering how much of an advantage his team is in. And these lanes are really pushed in their favor. 3,500 gold on him now, so he's about one creep kill and a Roshan kill away from being able to finish off the entirety of the Abyssal, and having that 2-second stun through BKB is going to be huge if they decide to use it on Gyrocopter, or if even they want to use it to pick off or interrupt a Fiend's Grip. Any situation, it's really going to be valuable for their team. And here we go. It's going to be the Roche attempt. So Roche is respawning right now, but there's a smoke. This time, What Happened are keen on the fact they're trying to get this Roche. Can they get the initiation they want? The bear is charging into the pit. It's going to spot that nobody's in there, but they're all nearby. Here comes Richard from the side. He does get hit by the boar. He will be slowed down, so a little bit frustrating for him, but no initiation quite yet. Either team waiting before they want to jump into the fray. And now they're going to smoke. GOTM are going to go for a wrap all the way around to try and catch What Happened off guard, and this probably going to work out in their favor if they can make it the whole way. It looks like What Happened still thinking they're near the Roche pit, maybe by their own Ancients, but here comes Orbit's leading the way. He has that Blink Dagger, and now he's going to use the Bird to scout out ahead of him. Who is he going to go for the roar on? Is he going to try and get it on the Gyrocopter? Here's the Gyrocopter showing himself, and they blink forward. They do get the roar onto Richard. Richard is going to be interrupted. The cooldown in the middle of a fight. Insel gets sheeped up before he can even get off of reverse polarity. He's going to drop. There goes Corey with a coup de grace. John the Ninja's going to go down. Almost a full team wipe. The only hero left standing is, in fact, the lone druid who has tried to hide in the trees, but Frost and Cake will not be able to escape this. A full team wipe in favor of GOTM City, and they only lose Lopert, the support lion, in exchange for it. Now they're going to be able to take down Roshan for free and then casually rotate through, maybe take down this tier 2 in the middle lane, as they do have creep momentum there. Huge fight for them, and that wrap was really well played and well executed. Orbit jumping in. It was a little bit interesting to see that he decided to opt to roar the Bane out of all the targets, but nonetheless it worked out for them. They got the sheep and the silence off on Magnus, and Magnus, not having a BKB yet, cannot break the silence, so that's enough to interrupt him. Relocate into the base. They're going to try and jump onto Richard here, and Richard stands no chance. Gets instant bashed by Corey. Now they turn around and start working on this tier 3 top, and this could be the first racks going down of the game, as we do see 3 heroes still dead, a couple respawning in a second for What Happened, but the item progression on GOTM is just far superior. Where we stand right now, Phantom Assassin sitting on 2,800 more gold. Already has the Abyssal in play. John the Ninja does charge in, but it looks like GOTM will play cautiously. They'll disengage. They take down the melee barracks. That is our first racks. They're going to go middle and try and work on this tower. The tower will be taken down individually by Chicken MC. He's just outputting a whole lot of damage right now with 3,700 gold in the bank. He can afford the entirety of the sheep if that is what he is looking for. And there it is. Sheep is picked up from him. We see Beastmaster actually working towards a refresher. He has a recipe and the Oblivion Staff, so he's only a Perseverance away from finishing it. And it's only 500 gold or so before he has that. With a 1,400 mana pool, it's pretty amazing. He can definitely get both of those roars off without any problems. And that's going to be a whole lot of control for the side of GOTM City in the middle of these team fights. Lopert, meanwhile, still sitting on only that blink. Full support duty. It's a hard knock life. Only casualty during that team wipe last fight. Had to sacrifice. Now we see Wisp Wolf picked up the Heaven's Halberd. There is a BKB by Gyrocopter to break it, and I mean, it's still a good pickup for a Wisp. It also gives him some defensive stats, but he can use it on the bear if he'd like, and prevent the bear from dealing some damage, I believe. It's targetable on... I think so. So that would be a good play. If you're just joining, I'm NYJohn. This is Gotham City versus What Happened. Group C, first game of the day for the Dota 2 Canada Cup. Winner of this will advance to a winner's matchup against whoever comes out victorious between Typical Mistakes and Team Arma. Loser of this will go to a loser's match against the other team from that matchup. And of course, we will continue on through the group. 3 games from Group C today, this being the first of those 3. Afterwards, we have Group D to finish up the group stage, and tomorrow and Tuesday will be the onset of the playoffs, where we'll get to see some really good series between these high-skill amateur teams. Gotham City are now grouping up towards the middle lane. What Happened still have to stay in that big clump. They're all by the base. No one really risking anything. Spirit Bear does complete up his AC, so that's a nice pickup for him, but at 43 minutes, I have to say that's not enough. Bottom lane, there's Aurora. It's going to hit on top of John the Ninja, and they use the finger as well. John the Ninja is going to go down before he can even get a BKB off. And now they're going to get and catch the bear off. They actually use Aurora on him as well with a refresher in play. So bear dies, John the Ninja has to buy back. Bane is dead as well, and they use the last resummon on the bear. If the bear drops now, there will be no further bears available. Corey's going to pop off his BKB. He's going to try and do work on some of these heroes. John the Ninja taking some good damage. Will he go down? Yes, he will. 1,500 crit from Corey. 1,500 crit again. He turns to the bear, takes him down. Frosting Cake is the last man standing. He's just going to head back to the well, and this looks like it's going to be GG for Gotham City as they look to defeat What Happened in the first game of the day, and GG is in fact called. That's it. That's a wrap. The 1,500 crits are no joke, and taking down the final racks, march on towards victory. A very nice win for Gotham City. It definitely went a little longer than many that watched the laning phase would have expected, but nonetheless, they played it safe. They waited for the Roches. They TP'd into the well just now with a relocate. He still has Aegis, though. And he's almost out lifestealing the well, so pretty impressive. Chicken MC, on the flip side, has to get a Ghost Scepter, which is kind of a baby move. Corey will get that coup de grace for 1,500 damage in the well. And that's going to be that. We're going to finish off the game in a moment here as the throne is being taken down. So really well played, well executed by Gotham City. They're definitely one of the stronger sides from what we've seen in past events. A lot of top 3 finishes. And they're looking to try and continue that trend here and get their piece of the $750 prize pool offered up by Dota2.ca for this tournament. Be sure to head over to the Dota 2 store and buy a ticket. It's only $1. It's such a good value buy. You get into the games, you can watch Brilliant HD. You can, of course, follow your favorite players, listen to my commentary, and get item drops, I hear, which is pretty awesome. And as well, be sure to check me out on Twitter at NYJohnTV. Check out Dota 2 Canada on Twitter, and we'll have the second game of the day coming up for you shortly. Be sure to stay tuned.